So let's move on to what this army has as far as its rules. And as we have alluded to, or straight up said a couple of times in the episode, this army now plays like its core rule extremely, like,
this
completely
is like
different.
An Eldar level of change.
Yeah.
Where Eldar had like fate dice, and then, now you got battle focus. This is the same, because we used to have grudge tokens. And that was cool, because, we find it either the easy to kill things to try and get command points, or the hard to kill things because, well, we want to actually be able to kill them, because each grudge token let us have, like, the entire army got a +1 to hit, or if you had 2, a +1 to wound as well. And that just made the army function, because, 3-ups are, like, so key in most things. I know Tau have a lot of 4-ups, Orcs have the 5-ups, but the armies, it really seems to work best when you have the 3-ups, or 2-ups are like, yeah, I can't miss.
Well, and that's why for Tau, like, the greater good rule is so important, because that does allow you to get your stuff to 3-up in many cases.
See? Perfect.
Yeah,
and that's what the grudge tokens were.
Yeah.
And now they're gone.
Now they're gone, but they've been replaced with something that I think changes the nature of the army and how it plays a lot. Because and correct me if I'm wrong, but Leagues of Votann almost had a self-sacrificial vibe to it, because you built up grudge tokens. Yes, you had units that could hand them out, but usually you built them up by losing units. The unit dies, okay, well, that's a grudge.
It was the same thing Problem Sisters had. You wanted some small, cheap units that you could toss out to get killed to get more tokens on things. Or the calls could hand out those tokens. Downside in reality is opponents would try and just kill the same thing. Like, once you had max grudge tokens, they'd make sure those were the ones that killed the units, so that way, no more grudge tokens for you. So it did have its roadblocks. But yeah, it led to a more, either you have to have your leaders have line of sight, or you just have to have units die, which it was good for the theory and the way grudges worked, but it led to kind of a singular playstyle.
Yeah. So now the army is much more focused on that aspect of, there's things out there that we need. We're going to take them. And once we take them, they're ours and we're going to hold them. And so it leads to a rule called prioritized efficiency. This is where we had mentioned yield points briefly when we were covering some of the previews for Leagues of Votann last episode. So now we know what those yield points are referring to. So if your army faction is Leagues of Votann units from your army have one of two abilities: Hostile Acquisition or Fortify Takeover. During the battle, which ability those units have will change depending on how many yield points you have. At the start of the battle, you are in Hostile Acquisition until the start of your next command phase. At the end of your command phase, if you have fewer than 7 yield points, you are still in Hostile Acquisition mode. At the end of your command phase, if you have 7 yield points or more, now you switch into Fortify Takeover mode. Now, what do those mean?
So, I'll get into one thing first, Rob. You do the calculation on your points right before you do this. So because you know how, like, if you have multiple things that happen in the same phase, whoever's turn picks, they've specified, no, you do your calculations first, and then that'll tell you what thing you're in.
Okay. So, Hostile Acquisition. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets an enemy unit within range of 1 or more objective markers, add 1 to the hit roll. And you can reroll advance and charge rolls made for this unit. So you are always rerolling advance and charge rolls early on in the game, and you are +1 to hit somebody who's holding an objective. Solid. You are trying to push people off of objectives so that you can take them. Then Fortify Takeover. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets an enemy unit, if this unit is within range of 1 or more objective markers, you add 1 to the hit roll. So now you want your guys on objectives so that you get the benefit to hit anybody else. And you get if the strength is higher than your toughness and you are not a vehicle, subtract 1 from the wound roll. So now you become harder to wound if somebody hits you with strong weapons.
I'm kind of sad about that not a vehicle part, but I understand it. Yeah. The one thing that I'll notice go over yield points and then we'll go over all of it together.
Okay. to determine what, so what are yield points? How do you get yield points? At the end of each player's command phase, you gain a yield point if you control one or more objective markers within your deployment zone, and from the second battle round onwards, you gain an additional yield point if you control one or more objective markers not within your deployment zone, you control two or more objective markers not in your deployment zone, and you control more objective markers than your opponent. So basically, if you control the objective in your own deployment zone, you get a yield point, and then after that, it's hold 1 outside, hold 2 outside, hold more. And the hold more is just across all objective markers, not just outside. And then in your turn, yield points gained in this way are always gained before checking which ability. So as you said, you always count them up before you determine what rule you have. And yield points can be spent because there are certain abilities, whether they're from detachments or from units, that can spend yield points that will allow you to do other things. So you have some control over which mode you're in.
Right. So that's exactly right. You control which mode, because if you're hovering around 7, you can choose whether you want to be in hostile acquisition or fortify takeover. And also some of those are just really nice. So maybe you want to have the extra yield points to do that. Or like one of the attachments, you probably want to be in hostile acquisition more. So you really want to get things to where you'll like crank down your yield points. So that's going to add a whole new layer of strategy to this army that wasn't there before. It kind of makes me think of like Mechanicus and having to plan ahead of what do I want to do? How do I do this? And like start manipulating your resource of yield points so you can be where you want to be in the future. I did some like test maths, and you should be able to, on average, move over to Fortify Takeover in turns 3 or 4 if it's going slow. But like you said, if you have other things, you could get to Fortify pretty quick. Or if you're using the abilities, you can kind of stay in hostile longer. But you kind of have full control over how you get, well, unless the opponent just knocks you off of every objective marker, well, then it'd be harder to get to Fortify. But so, yeah, I do find this part very interesting, and it leans into the different lore that they gave instead of just go fight grudges. So,
yeah, it leans into how the whole society works rather than just being angry at people who hurt you.
Yeah, my only concern is actually with narrative. How many games have we played, Rob, where there aren't really objective markers on a board? Or there's very few?
Yeah, one of my concerns looking at this was because I run for our narrative league, I use bunker missions, the missions out of White Dwarf, and a good number of those, not all of them, but a lot of them don't have objectives in your own deployment zone, for one thing. So that's a yield point you just can't get.
Because that would be like, that's 2 yield points on top and bottom of 1.
Yeah.
That you've now lost.
Right. So be aware of that if you don't have if an objective just doesn't exist in your deployment zone, that's a yield point you cannot get. And also, I do think it's interesting that they kind of timed the other yield point generation with where scoring normally is. Although, again, I have seen most missions usually don't start scoring objectives until round 2, but that is not universal. There are some that do. So just be aware that just because you're scoring an objective does not necessarily mean yield point generation. Just be cognizant of that. So now that we know what the army rule does, we will, as we are doing now typically, we will go to the data sheet so you can see what the pieces of the army do, and then we will close out by going through the detachments and saying, okay, how can you use those pieces? How does this book intend you to use those pieces? So we'll start off. We've got 2 named characters. We've got Uthar the Destinied, who is our returning character, kind of our Call of Calls type character.
Yeah, and he used to be the only character, and because he had like the Greater Thurian League, a lot of people didn't use him. They removed that because they're just Votann is Votann, so you can just put him wherever. I still don't know if I'd use him. His knight, or he did gain a leadership, so that will be good. He lost the ability to reduce all damage to 1, which was really insane. Instead, now he has spend a yield point to change a wound roll or a saving throw or hit to 6, which that's really good.
Now, that is only for his model, but
correct.
All his attacks also have devastating wounds, so changing a wound roll to a 6 is not bad necessarily.
Yeah, I didn't click those two together because I kind of skimmed over him, but yeah. Unfortunately, it's only 2 wounds or 1 wound, but
yeah,
that's still 2 mortals or 1 mortal. So something. And then he's got the CP increase for other people. Or no, he's reduced the cost, sorry. Grim Efficiency reduces the cost.
Yeah, so if a unit within 12 inches is targeted by a stratagem, once per battle round, he can say it costs 1 less. So it's similar to what a captain does, but not exactly the same.
Right. The captain is his unit.
Right.
Isn't it? And this is just any unit within 12. So this is, I like this better.
Yeah. So, he's not bad.
He's useful.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's... I wouldn't say he's as thrilling as most, like, big named you are the epic hero
we don't
characters.
Have that.
Especially with only 2 in the army, but he's interesting. He's not bad. That gets us to Buri Agnerson, the lone survivor of his league. And he is a brand new character in the book. And also, one thing to note, these characters, they are generally moving 5 inches because short legs don't move fast. So you're talking 5-inch movement. Coming in at tough 6, though. He's hefty, stronger, sturdier than most.
Right. Normal toughness for Votann will be 5. So with him coming in with a 6, that's probably thanks to the Tyranid on his back, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he is definitely hardier. 5 wounds, which is really good or standard for a character. Lone op and stealth.
Oh yeah, lone op and stealth is quite the combo. So you can't shoot him if he's more than 12 away, and even if he's within 12, you're still -1 to hit, which is pretty solid. And a pretty decent like his like he's got a pistol, like just a bolt pistol, not much on the ranged front, but melee. His Bane weapon is pretty sweet.
Yeah. I mean, the Bane, his strike profile has precision. It's 5 attacks, weapon seal 2, so he's probably going to be hitting them all. Strength 12, probably going to be wounding them all, especially with precision going after a character. AP -3, most characters have invuln saves, so this doesn't matter as much. 3 damage each. So if he's landing 5 shots, most characters have 5 or 6 wounds. If he lands all 5, you have to save 3 of the 5, or he's probably killing a character.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and then 10 attacks on the sweep at strength 6, AP -2, 1 damage. Great for clearing out small chaff. So
yeah,
and then. We mentioned this last episode, but if first time he dies, you roll a d6 on a 2-up. He does the Celestine. He gets right back up as close to where he was. That's not an engagement range, and he's back with all wounds remaining. So,
which means if you've got something you want to target, send him after it, and then if they kill him along the way, well, he just gets right back up, and he's still going. So he should be able to at least kill one thing in my mind.
Right. And even if you... we mentioned it's hard to shoot at him. It's hard to hit him if you shoot at him. If you manage to wing him with a shot, he gets a surge move at you at d6 plus 2 inches.
And not just that. He can end it in engagement range.
Right, yeah. So he kind of goes Corn Berserker in that moment and moves up to 8 inches and, can just end up in engagement range. So,
and then you can't shoot him. Ha! Oh,
yeah, yeah. Would I say he's a must take? No, but he'll fit in anywhere. He's just kind of a missile you can send at things.
If you're melee heavy army, he's a must take. Okay. If you're not, flavor to taste.
Right. I mean, with a strength 12 weapon, he'll kill or at least put the hurt on just about anything.
But the problem will be him getting there. You'll probably have to get him in a transport because his little 5 inches is a little slow.
he's got stubby legs. It's like having an attack corgi. And I'm speaking as one who has one, so yes. So now we get into our generic characters. So we've got the Call, which is similar. Well, actually, in this army, the Call fits more of the role, if I was going to compare it to something, of almost a lieutenant, because it provides lethal hits when he's attached to a unit, which is really solid. Like, lethal hits are good, don't get me wrong.
I mean, that's what he did in the last codex, too.
Yeah. And then he also has a seized opportunity ability once per phase, so it can happen in the shooting phase and in the fight phase. One model from your army with this ability can use it when its unit destroys an enemy unit. If it does, you gain a yield point. So he's a yield point generator.
So, I mean, that's decent. I kind of preferred the other, but with lethal hits, that helps out. Mm-hmm. He can only lead 2 units, though, being the Hearthguard or the Warriors.
Right.
So I don't see this happening as much. The Call used to be a must take. I think he's kind of now just, if you feel like it, take. And he used to, I mean, Calls were the big leader guys, like you said, but he now feels like more relegated. So yeah, maybe Lieutenant kind of leans on where he fits rules wise, even though narratively he should probably be the one leading.
Right. Also, he has a couple of melee options. His more powerful one is the Mass Gauntlet, which is a power fist. Used to be a strength 8 AP -2, 3 damage, which is pretty standard power fist stuff. It is now AP 3, so it's even better than a power fist, which is good.
I would still take the Mass Gauntlet over the axe. The axe is 4 attacks, so it's got more attacks. It's got better weapon skill, but that 5 strength AP -2, 2 damage, I'd still rather swing with the big Mass Gauntlet.
Yeah, especially because if you are taking him, he's going to be surrounded with other bodies too, so he might be the one heavy hitter you have in that unit, depending on what you take. So yeah, you'd want to have something a bit more powerful. Moving on, we've got the Grimnir, who is the faction Psyker. He has a couple of psychic abilities, Ancestral Wrath, which is a 24-inch psychic attack. So the regular mode, it's 3 shots, hitting on 3s, strength 6, AP -2, D3 damage. Or you can make it focused, which just gives you 3 extra attacks. Although I noticed in your notes you pointed out that that used to be a 2-up to hit.
Yeah, and also the one with 6 attacks is hazardous, so that's the trade-off for 3 extra attacks for a hazardous roll. Yeah, it used to be easier to hit. The more thing was, did it stick so you can roll your D3 wounds, but I think they're making everything like your really good things are going to be in 3s, your normal things will be 4-ups, and then Bury's the one outstanding one who's just a legend, I guess.
And that sounds like it's a downgrade, but also consider your army rule is +1 to hit in mode.
Yeah.
Whether, regardless of what mode you're in, you have a conditional +1 to hit against a target, whether you're taking an objective or on an objective, depending on what mode you're in. So you're likely going to be hitting on 2s if you're doing it at the right time. So it may not be that big a deal.
True.
When he's attached to a unit, which he can join Hearthguard Warriors, it's the only unit he can join, but they do get a 5-up Feel No Pain, and although I don't know if that's as useful. I guess we'll get there when we get there, but I know they have a Feel No Pain already, but
I don't know. I would still lean towards that Feel No Pain 5-up because
I mean, it's better.
It used to be +1 toughness. We'll get into this later, but they've tend to been removing toughness from this army, just like they did with knights. Yeah, so I'm still fond of that, and every because Feel No Pain, as we've said, is like every wound. So a better dropping the Feel No Pain for that squad from 6-up to 5-up. That's you save more.
Yeah. And then he still has his 2 corves, which have bolters attached. And as per and I'm glad that they, that errata that they issued, or the balance status slate update that said, hey, they don't count as models for the purposes of transport. That is reflected in the codex rules as well. So they knew that was coming. That was just
right.
They kind of had to get that in front of people so that the army would play better. But there was all, it appears that at least as far as when they were writing this codex, that was always the intention.
Yeah. And the other thing that changed on him is he had ability to unbattle shock his unit if they got battle shocked. And now he can unbattle shock any unit within 12 inches, so just like the other rule that is it's now 12 inches instead of like this unit, it's better. Yep. So I'm happy.
And next up, we've got 2 new units to talk about. We've got the Mimnir Strategist and the Arcanist Evaluator. We'll start with the Strategist. Again, very typical stat line, 5 toughness, 5-inch movement, a 4-up save, no invuln, so he's not terribly hardy, but 4 wounds, and again, and also no real combat ability to mention.
Yeah. He's got a pistol and a close combat weapon of strength 3, so it's like, yeah,
he's a strategist, but he's not there to fight.
He is a strategist, not a fighter.
Right. So his ability at the end is computational. He has 2 abilities. First is computational mastermind. At the end of your command phase, before you determine if units from your arm so at the end of your command phase, before you determine which mode you're in, for each objective marker you control that has 1 or more models with this ability within range of it. So he needs to be within range of an objective. Doesn't have to be one in no man's land. It could be one in your deployment zone. You can spend a yield point or gain a yield point, and that does mean that if you had 3 Mimnir strategists, you could have them on 3 different objectives and gain up to 3 or lose up to 3 yield points.
Just 1. Because it does say for each objective marker 1 or it says or more. You're right. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, so or more got me.
Yeah. So yeah, yes. you could theoretically get 3 of them, but the tricky part is he is very squishy, and there's only, technically it's 2 units, but there's only one kind of body you can attach him to, and it's the Ironcon Steeljacks, the new.
That is a very tanky body.
Yeah. Okay.
I would be afraid of precision, though. Precision will probably
Oh yeah, yeah. For example, Emperor's Children, where all their troops have their battle line stuff is all precision. He's gonna get popped real fast.
I don't like that. Just let you know.
Nor should you.
But his other ability is the one I actually like the most. His predictive guidance. Once per battle round, this model can use this ability. Cool. If it does, you can target this unit with Fire Overwatch or Heroic Intervention for 0 CP.
Which fits nicely with the units, because the Steeljacks come in 2 forms, heavy Vulcanite disintegrators or melee weapons. So depending on which one you've got going, maybe you send them in to heroically intervene or use them to fire Overwatch when somebody moves through.
I'm leaning towards the Overwatch.
Yeah. One thing to note there, it does not specify, as a lot of abilities that do this that you can also do it even if you've already used it that phase. So,
I've been seeing that less and less, so I think they've been slowly removing that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just, but you have so little CP and so little way to gain CP, so anything you can do for 0 CP is really nice.
Yeah, you need the economy there. Then we've got our Arcanist Evaluator, who is our mad scientist with a mad science gun. And
I've been all over the floor or all over the map with him. We'll get into that.
So again, pretty standard stat line. 5 move, 5 tough, 3 up save, 4 wounds. He does have Deadly Demise 1, which I am amused as hell by.
It seems fitting.
Yes, his mad science gun will explode when he dies. He's got the ability he has lone op if he's within 3 inches of 1 or more infantry units, although they do specify it can't be another unit with lone op, so no running Bury and an Arcanist or 2 Arcanists together to give them both lone op, which is fair. I think that's
I am glad they called that out, because otherwise people would cheese it like that.
Yeah. And I also want to talk about his mad science gun. So 3 different modes: half charge, full charge, and overcharge. Half charge is a 12-inch 12-inch 3 attacks hitting on 2s, strength 8, AP -1, 1 damage, rapid fire 1. So 4 attacks at 6 inches. Yeah, not great. The strength is nice. I mean, strength 8 is not bad.
If you're 6 inches away, something's going to be eating you.
Yeah, that's fair. You've got full charge, which is 18 inches, 3 attacks. Again, all these are hitting on 2s. All of these are 3 attacks. So strength 8, AP -2, 2 damage, rapid fire 2, but also hazardous.
I mean, hazardous rolls seem to be a dime a dozen. That's fine. Always take them.
Yeah.
But still, you have to be within 9 inches to get 5 shots.
Right.
That's rough.
Not great. And then there's the overcharge mode. 24 inches of range, 3 attacks hitting on 2, strength 8, AP -3, 3 damage, rapid fire 3. Okay, now if I'm within 12 inches, I've got double attacks. Now we're getting somewhere. Also hazardous, and it has a new rule as well. Overcharge. Each time you take a hazardous test for this weapon, subtract 2 from the result, which means half of your shots will fully go hazardous.
Yep. So I've got my thoughts on him, which is I had to look up the rules because I didn't really remember how they were for characters. Hazardous is only 3 wounds.
Right, so
he's got 4, so he will live. So
once.
Yeah. So always do the big rapid fire 3 overcharge thing until you die once, and then who cares? Do it again until you die a second time in your deadly demise.
Right. Now, he does have one other rule called resource transmutation. Once per turn in your shooting phase, one model with this ability can use it when it is selected to shoot. If it does, you must spend 1 yield point, and until the end of the phase, his ranged weapons gain sustained hits 1, and after the model has shot this phase, if 1 or more enemy units were destroyed by those attacks, you can gain up to 2 yield points. So you can trade a yield point to get 2 yield points, and sustained hits 1 if you kill something.
Yeah, I'm not fond of this one.
I'm not sold on him either.
And the main reason, I mean, if this was by itself, I'm like, if I've got extra yield points, sure, sustain on the rapid fire 3 might be worth an extra shot, because AP -3, 3 damage each can kill a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I would probably be running him in an attachment that I can get sustained hits another way, where I don't have to spend a yield point. So, yeah, I don't think I'd really use that. But yeah, I've gone from he was horrible, why would you do that, to, yeah, he has a place, especially with him having loan op with a unit. So as long as he's by another unit, and if that unit gets close, well, have him just go to town and kind of be the fire support for that unit. In my mind, it's kind of like halfway attaching that big D-cannon to a Guardian unit for Eldar. Although this is as big as a D-cannon and you're not actually attaching. But it's that feel of just having an artillery kind of walking with a squad.
Yeah. He's kind of a mop-up character more than anything, because you want to, like, if you do the resource transmutation, you want to get the kill in with him.
Yeah, I'm not leaning towards in the resource transmutation, and I'm looking at him as more as a softening up person. So then your warriors or whoever else you have him next to can just kind of go and they can do the mop-up because they're not as strong.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's I can see a role for him. He's definitely kind of an oddball, though. Like, I
think I like the way that he's an oddball because he also does something else when you're like building lists. If you're not building around him, he's an easy splash in character.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah, if you've got the points for him, you throw him in as an extra strong gun and just kind of...
Yeah, he can fit anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, he's as fast as all your other units.
True that. True that. All right, and now moving on, now we're getting back to recurring characters. We have the Broker Iron Master, who is kind of your Tech Marine equivalent in this army.
He feels more Tech Marine now than he used to, so I'm happy with that.
So again, standard stat line, 4-up save, 4 wounds, and then he has 1 Ironkin assistant and 3 ecogs, which each have a wound.
Yeah,
and
the
they're
Ironkin assistant used to have 2, which made him better. But yeah, with him only having 1, the only reason to keep him around till last is the ability that you get a bonus for having him around.
right. He gets he can attach to Hearthkin Warriors and a Broker Thunderkin, but if you don't, he can get Lone Operative if he is within 3 inches of a vehicle or of Ironkin Steeljacks. So if he's near your tall boys and not attached to a unit, he gets Lone Op, which is cool. Good for him.
Yeah, because that's what he did not have in the past. Because I remember running him, he'd pop out of Sagittars. I just had to try and get him out of line of sight because he didn't have Lone Op. He could repair vehicles, but he could get targeted. So it's like, yeah. So I'm so glad he has Lone Op next to vehicles or Steeljacks now.
Yeah. And then he's got a vehicle repair ability. So at the end of your movement phase, if he's within 3 inches of a vehicle, Exoframe, which would be your Broker
The
Thunderkin, or the Ironkin Steeljacks, he can heal them up to D3 lost wounds or 3 wounds if he has the Ironkin assistant still in the unit.
Yeah, which is really nice. The only thing that changed, because he could always heal the vehicles or Exoframes, they added Steeljacks because it's a new unit. The only sad part is I kind of wish he could like bring him back, but he's not an apothecary. He just fixes what's broken, doesn't make it come back from scratch.
Right. And he can reroll wound rolls of 1 with his multispectral visor. I imagine the change that makes you the most happy for him, though, is the updates to his Graviton rifle and hammer. Because I know
they did this on a ton of things.
Yeah.
They used to be anti-vehicle 2, which was good, but I play against Tyranids. So now they're anti-vehicle 3, which is not as good, but they have anti-monster 3 as well, so I'm happy again.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's going to make Dennis happy, because that was always one of your gripes. Is like, yeah, this is great against vehicles. If only I played against vehicles.
Yeah. And that's a theme that you'll see a lot in here is anything that used to just be anti-vehicle is now both anti-vehicle and anti-monster, although it's at 3-ups instead of 2-up, but okay, I'll take that trade-off.
Yeah. Speaking of the Broker Thunderkin, we've got their data sheet as well. They are T6, 3-up save, 2 wounds. They used to be 3.
Yeah, that's a pain, because they used to be beefy, now they're just big.
Yeah. They still have 3 weapon options: the bolt cannon, the graviton blast cannon, and the conversion beamer. And one thing we are going to see on the conversion beamer, and also pretty much all the beam weapons, when this army first came out, beam was like its own special thing where you drew lines and figured out who you hit with the beam. When they converted to the 10th edition index, that all became sustained hits D3. That is no longer the case. All the beam weapons are just
weapons.
They're just weapons. Yeah. So you've got the bolt cannon, which is pretty much your heavy bolter equivalent. 3 shots, strength 6, AP -1, 2 damage with sustained hits 2. So a potential to put out a lot of shots with some good rolls.
Yeah, it used to be sustained hit 1, going up to 2. I actually kind of like it more, and I like that it's 36 range. It might be worth taking. I did not kit mine this way, but bolt cannon looks like to be a decent option.
Then you've got the Graviton Blast Cannon, which only strength 5, 24 inches of range, strength 5, AP -2, 3 damage, but anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3-up instead of just being vehicle 2-up.
I know, and I'm torn on this one. This is how I kitted all 6 of mine, and I used to shred knights with it because anti-vehicle 2-up. So, like we said, now I can hit monsters. I'm happy, but the attacks changed. It used to be D6 per, and now it's only 3 per. And so if you were hot, I could, like, 3 of them hit 10 times. I guess now I'm still hitting 9, but I guess it might balance out. It'll be more consistent this way instead of, because I did have times where I'd roll a 1, 1, and a 2 and only shoot 4 times. So, okay, I'm talking myself into being happy with 3 instead of D6.
Also, 6 extra inches of range because it used to be 18.
Yes, I love that.
And 3 damage instead of 2, so...
Which is amazing.
So I would say, even though it's not anti-vehicle 2-up and not D6 shots, the consistency and the increased damage and range I think would be more than worthwhile.
Fair. I'm leaning into that now too.
Yeah, and the having anti-monster as an option there too.
Oh yeah, that's the selling part.
Yeah. And then you've got the conversion beamer, which is 2 attacks, lethal hits. Like I said, lost sustained D3, but gained lethal hits. Strength 7, AP -2, 3 damage, 24-inch range. And with the ability conversion, if you are targeting somebody outside 12 inches, you crit on 4-ups. So you wound everything on 4-up to hit, which also happens to be your ballistic skill. So if you hit somebody outside 12, you are just auto-wounding because you have lethal hits. That's not bad.
Yeah, and the fact that this used to be 1 shot because of the sustained D3. Now it's 2, so if you have squad of 3, that's 6 shots. You could have lethal that do 3 damage each. Not bad. I'm going to say something weird. I kind of wish each of these still had a little more range, because this is your heavy weapon type thing. 24 is a lot, but like that's why I said the bolt with that 36, it gives you that little extra of like most people might not be able to shoot back, but at 24 most people are going to be able to shoot back.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, this is, with a few exceptions, like you definitely do have access to longer range weaponry in this army, but this strikes me as a kind of a slower mid-range army, and especially with the way the army rule is built, it's a mid-range army that wants to take stuff in no man's land. It's not necessarily as focused on taking stuff in your opponent's deployment zone.
That's fair. And also 2 good ways to use this still would be, 1, put it in a land fortress so you're moving up, then you can get them out when you need, or something I did in the past I might do again, put them in reserves, have them walk on the board and turn like 2 or 3, and they can come in on a side where you need them and have something in range and just go pew pew pew. So
right, and
they're still solid.
And with 24 inches of range coming in from a side, that'll cover nearly half the board.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they used to have the ability to overwatch on a 5-up. That is gone. But instead, if they hit something, then it doesn't get cover for the rest of the phase. Or until the start of your next shooting phase. So
right. They just are cover removers.
Right.
Which
is fine.
I'm fine with. I love the Overwatch thing, but I guess I'm okay with them not having it because I'll lean towards overwatching with my Mimnir strategist because I can do it for 0. So 6-1, half dozen the other. Army's changed.
Yeah.
My units will have to take different roles on, so this will not be my blast overwatching unit anymore.
Now moving on, we get to our battle line unit, the Hearthkin Warriors. This is the kind of the core of most Leagues of Votann armies. Not all, especially with some of the new detachments, but probably most, especially up till now. And your standard kin stat line: 5 movement, 5 toughness, 4-up save, 1 wound, OC2, pretty standard for a battle line. And as we mentioned, they have Feel No Pain 6-up, which is not you don't have to take a piece of war gear for that. They just have that.
Yeah, which that's why I think I missed it, because I was looking, they don't have the medic war gear anymore. But also with its war gear, then once the medic died, well, you didn't have it anymore. Now, built into the unit, cool.
Yeah. And then you have the sticky objective rule. Theirs is called Luck Has, Need Keeps, Toil Earns, which is classic kin wisdom. But yeah, basically, if they're on an objective, you control it until somebody beats your level of control. And every time they make a ranged attack, they reroll hits of 1.
Yep. And that's kind of the scanner buff. It used to be ignore cover, so now it's reroll hits of 1. So, okay, I'm fine with that.
And consider this army is going to be trying to hit on 3s whenever possible, because they're normally ballistic skill 4. This gets it down to 3 with depending on what mode of prioritized efficiency they're in, and now they're rerolling 1s. That makes them pretty consistent as far as damage output.
I do like that the Warriors are a very versatile battle line group because of some of the other changes. The Wayfield Crest, which used to let you have a 4-up invone on your sergeant, the Thane, now is a 5-up invone for the unit. So they're 4-up armor, 5-up invuln for the unit.
Yeah,
So-
because why would you not take the Weafield Crest?
Yeah. And then the next part is you can
Or I guess
now...
you don't. It's not even you don't choose to take it. He just has it. It's just,
Yeah. They just have a 5-up invuln. The other part is you can now take combat knives. 2 of the warriors can have a plasma knife. So you've got 2 guys in the Thane who can have AP -2 melee weapons. So suddenly, other than the Thane, you have 2 more people that can actually like help out in melee, which they didn't have before. So between the invuln save and getting some good melee, well, I mean, 3 out of 7 is still better than they were. I like what they did here. They're not overpowered. They're still a battle line unit, but they've got a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, and they're sturdy. They can be built flexibly. One thing you point out in your notes is they can mix and match bolters and ion blasters.
That was my favorite change, because having to build a unit of all one or all the other, it's just like, now you can just take your pick. Although I still like the ion blaster more because it's AP -2, even though the regular one, no, the ion blaster's still better.
Yeah. So yeah, the big difference is bolter has more shots and more range, but less strength and no AP, versus 18, shorter range, 24 to 18. The ion blaster's 18, only 1 shot instead of 2, but strength 5, AP -2. You're more likely to wound. You're more likely to stick those wounds.
Yeah.
And then up to 2 warriors can have auto rifles, rotary cannons, missile launchers, plasma beamers, or rail rifles, but no duplicates.
Yep. So standard as previous.
Yeah, but it does give you, again, a lot of flexibility in how to build the unit. What do you want to go after? Is this an anti-infantry unit? Is this an anti-vehicle unit? Or anti-vehicle support?
Yeah, the fact that you get 2 heavy weapons and 2 melee weapons, and if you put them with a Sagittar, it breaks them into 5 and 5. You can have the melees get into the Sagittar and the heavies stay out. And
yeah. Also, T5, 5-up invuln, and a 6-up feel no pain. This is going to be a pretty sturdy battle line unit compared to some. I think the only thing that makes them, the 4-up base save is not amazing, but it's okay. And only 1 wound means they're not Space Marines.
No.
But,
oh my gosh.
But they're significantly hardier than Tau, for example.
Fair. Yes.
Moving on, now we get to another pair of new units, although these are 2 new units built out of the same box, and that is the Iron Steel Jacks, whether you take them with heavy Vulcanite disintegrators or melee weapons. And I will start with the heavy Vulcanite. So these guys, again, 5 inches of movement. Just because they have longer legs doesn't mean they move any faster, because they don't want to outpace anybody who's trying to keep up with them. But T6, 2-up save and 3 wounds is pretty sturdy.
Yes. Oh my! T6 is amazing, because that's like the beefy toughness you want to be at. And 2-up save. I mean, who doesn't want to have a 2-up save? And then, like I said, that 3rd wound just feels nice. So, I mean, Terminators have 3 wounds, so these are kind of like our Terminators.
Yeah. And then they all are equipped with the Vulcanite disintegrator and a plasma knife. There's a Thane that's equipped with a Primarch crest, which gives you precision on crit wounds.
Sort of.
If you're going after somebody within range of an objective marker.
Yes. So many conditions on it.
Yeah.
If it happens, cool. But more odds are, if it happens, you'll forget it's there because there's so many conditions.
They normally all come equipped with the heavy Vulcanite disintegrator. You can choose to give the Thane a bolter and a plasma sword, which the plasma sword gives him more attacks. But
why?
Yes, why? Yeah, you want the guns. Why do you want the guns? The heavy Vulcanite disintegrator, 24-inch range, 6 attacks, hitting on 4s, strength 6, AP -1, 1 damage, devastating.
Yeah. When I first saw this, I was disappointed. And that was because I wanted a heavy gun that could, like, take out big things. This is not that. This is more of, it's a gun that's going to put out a lot of shots. It'll hurt littler things and can probably take out elite things. Because the big things, you're just hoping for the dev wounds. Because strength 6 is not enough to really harm them.
Right. However, there's also their ability Purge Response, and this is probably why you want that Memnir strategist mixed in. So each time you target this unit with the Fire Overwatch stratagem, hits are scored on unmodified hit rolls of 5-up. If you're in Fortified Takeover mode, you hit on 4s instead.
So yes, you now know my strategy. I want to get these guys onto a point with the strategist, and then I've got 24 inches of, I'm going to do the full squad of 6, and so that'll be what? 6 times 6 is 36? 36 overwatches on 4-ups. Which their normal ballistic skill is 4-up, so it's just like a normal shot.
Right. Yeah, that is a lot of damage output. These are the guys you put on to consolidate and kind of hold the objective once, like, you've pushed people off of it. Now these guys sit on it and hold it.
Doubly think of it, toughness 6. If we're in Fortify, you have to be strength 13 to hit them on a 3. Because strength 12 will still hit them on a... Actually, no. 12 hits them. 12 would be double. So 12 would be 3. Strength 11 would be 2s. Or, would be 4s because you're not double yet. So, you'd really need strength 12 guns to really have a good chance of dislodging.
Right. You're talking like, oh, yeah, I've got to use the last cannons on those 3 to 6 guys standing on the objective. That's and the last cannon's going to have 1, maybe 2 shots.
And if I'm feeling really silly, and I don't recommend this, you can put an Iron Master with him. He won't join the unit, but hey, he's next to Steeljacks. He gets lone ops and can repair them.
Yep.
Oh, man.
It'd be a lot to put into, like, keeping 1 unit of Steeljacks alive, but hey, it is an option.
Yes.
Now, on the other hand, if you decide you want to go with melee, you've got the option for the Iron Steeljacks with melee weapons. Same stat line, but different loadout. They come automatically with that bolter, which it is a bolt gun like the kind that the Hearthkin warriors carry, but they use it as a pistol because they're big. And they all come with plasma swords, but any number of models in the unit can have the plasma sword replaced with a concussion gauntlet. The differences between the two: the plasma sword has 6 attacks, strength 6, AP -2, 1 damage, hitting on 3s, but with sustained hits 1. Or the concussion gauntlet, which is 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, but strength 10, AP -2, 2 damage, with lethal hits.
Yeah, I am so torn on that. They both are good, and they both serve a different purpose too. Because your sustained would be, I'm going after all the little things, and the concussion is definitely for the big things. And if your strength 10 isn't good enough, well, that's why lethal's there.
Right.
So yeah, I really wish I could mix and match. I guess technically you can sort of.
Yeah, you can. Any number of models can have the plasma sword replaced with a concussion gauntlet, so you don't have.
Then I can. Then I have to contemplate. I don't know how I'm going to kid him. I still have to toss that in my head.
And then they have an ability that every time an enemy unit that is within engagement range, except for monsters or vehicles, tries to fall back, they have to make a desperate escape test, and they're at -1 if they're battle shocked. We've seen that ability several times.
It's just evil.
It is evil, but also with this unit, I think you're kind of hoping for the kill before they try to fall back. Like, anything that is going to survive long, like, at that point, you're talking... The things that are going to fall back from you the most would probably be vehicles anyway, and you can't catch them with this ability.
I don't. This is not a squad to go melee vehicles. You want them going after either hordes if you're using the swords, or elites, or I'd say monsters. But yeah, monsters could just go away. But most of the time, monsters or vehicles will stay stuck in with you anyway because they can still shoot out. And if a lot of them, if they fall back, then they can't shoot. But this is more for if I want to. I'm kind of viewing them like the I think the Slash Beasts could lock you in and you had a desperate escape out, or the nets from the Dark Eldar. So yeah, you just want to have these go up to and lock down someone you don't want to shoot, try and kill them in melee, and if they want to run away, well, take your desperate escape test and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Downside still would be 5 inches of movement.
Yeah, those longer legs not getting them any purchase there. So.
Right, because for melee, you really want that movement to be able to get into melee. So these guys would definitely need transport help to get where they needed first.
So yeah, a little bit slower than I would have expected, but they hit decently hard.
Oh yeah, and they're tough and have good saves and lots of wounds.
Yeah. Speaking of things that have good saves, we're going to move on to the Einherjar Champion, which is your effectively Terminator character. Again, T, 5 inches of movement. So he's not any slower, which is nice. T5, 2-up save, 5 wounds.
Yeah, my complaint is him and the other squad used to be T6. So they all lost to toughness, which makes me sad.
Yeah, but I think it does kind of give the Steel Jacks a little bit more of a little more niche protection. That they're the tougher guys.
It does, and when we get to the end, I'll do my rant.
By default, he comes with a Weave Field Crest, which gives him a 4-up save, which 2-up, 4-up makes him like full-on Terminator. Or you can give him a Teleport Crest, which gives him Deep Strike. I mean, it depends on what you want to do with them, I suppose.
He can only join Hearthguard, and he's the guy with the big hammer, so I think it's better to give him the Invuln save rather than give it because if the squad has it, once the squad's gone, he doesn't have it. So right. I still lean towards it. My only complaint with the Weavefield Crest is here it says the bearer has a 4-up Invuln, which is what it said in the previous codex. The Thane and the other places where that is listed as Weavefield Crest is now a 5-up Invuln for the squad, but they still called it the Weavefield Crest. So I just kind of wish they would have changed the name of one of them.
Yeah, it is confusing wording. When he's leading a unit, they can add 1 to advance and charge rolls, which is good because they need all the extra movement they can get.
Yeah, I'm also torn on that because the old rule was re-roll your advance and charge roll, or re-roll charge rolls, which, as we all know, deep striking in that 9-inch charge is hard to make. But with a reroll, it's a lot easier to make, and I think the reroll would probably be better than having a +1 to the charge roll, because now I still got to roll 8, which is easier. Well, I guess I can CP reroll that, but CP's at a premium, so I don't know. I don't know which is better.
Because when I use Dante, Dante gives the unit he's attached to +1 on the charge roll, and so him attached to Sanguinary Guard, I can regularly pull off 8-inch charges. That's
without
not
needing to reroll.
Right, and having the +1 on advance is also good. Like having
if they were on the board already,
yeah. Especially so, like if you don't go with the deep strike ability, if you start them on the board, that's not a bad ability to have. And then if he makes that charge, you select an enemy unit with an engagement range of him, so you want him in the front of the charge. Roll a d6, and based on how you roll, that's either going to be d3 mortal wounds or d3 + 3 mortal wounds as he just Hammer of Wraths into them.
Yep, it's nice.
That's nice. And then his melee options, no slouch. He is either using a Mass Hammer, which is a Strength 12 AP -3 D6 +1 hammer that hits on 3s, or the Darkstar Axe, which is his kind of the sweep equivalent of twice as many attacks, hits better or hits more often on 2-ups, but is only Strength 6, AP -3, 2 damage. So that's the anti-infantry option, or the Mass Hammer is the anti-big thing option.
Mass Hammer.
Mass Hammer?
That's the only option, because this army has a ton of things that can take out infantry and little things. It lacks a lot of the heavy punch. So Mass Hammer is one of those heavy punches. So you're always going to want to take it.
Gotcha. Meanwhile, you've got the Ironhair Hearthguard, who are the one unit he can join. And this is like your Terminator squad. And again, same stat line, although 2 wounds instead of 5. As you mentioned, they have a Thane who comes with a Weavefield Crest who can give the entire unit a 5-up invulnerable. So they're a 2-up, 5-up, or instead they can have Deep Strike. Again, I guess it depends on what you want to do with them, what their role is, whether you do that. And yeah, I definitely see what you're saying of if the Hearthguard is, or if, not the Hearthguard, if the champion is with them, then yeah, you give him the 4-up invuln because you need him to survive and let the squad kind of eat wounds for him instead, if you're going to deep strike them in. Their equipment is also marked down a little bit. For one thing, they all have grenade launchers built into their suits, but they lost half the attacks.
Not just that, it lost strength. This to me feels like an Eldar or a Sisters style nerf, where for like Eldar, they were good for too long, now we have to nerf them to make sure that they're not as good. Plus, we have new units coming out. Or like the Sisters nerf, where nerfing one or the other thing would probably be enough, but let's just go ahead and nerf both so that way we're sure we got it covered. So, I mean, reducing the attacks from D6 to D3, that's rough. And then also changing the strength from 4 to 3, it means everything is going to be pretty much 5s. The only exception will be Eldar and some guard, but most guard will be in tanks, which will be 6s. So, yeah, this weapon that could, in theory, put out a ton of shots. I mean, sure, they were low strength, no AP shots. It's now you get half as many and even worse wounding rolls. So, yeah, I'm sad for this unit.
Yeah. For their ranged options outside of the grenade launcher, they've either got the Adakarn plasma gun, which is now rapid fire 1, which is nice.
I'm happy and sad about.
But they also lost the strength.
Well, okay, yes, the strength is, yeah, because 8's a much better strength to have than 7, because against normal or Space Marines or anything toughness 4, 8 you're wounding on 2s, which is awesome. Now 7 you're wounding on 3s. It's not as good, and the rapid fire 1 is good, but the Grotmist detachment has a stratagem specifically for this unit to give it rapid fire on this gun. Well, I mean, technically you could also give it to the Vulcanite, but it's not as good there. And now that stratagem's kind of just useless.
Yeah.
So, I'm sad.
Or the other option is the Vulcanite Disintegrator, which is 3 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 5, AP 0, 1 damage, but devastating wounds. The plasma gun's going to be the more generally useful. You're kind of fishing for 6s on the Vulcanite, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Melee-wise, they come equipped with concussion gauntlets, which are power fists, hitting on 3s, strength 8, AP minus 2, 2 damage. 2 attacks. Used to be strength 9 on the gauntlets, now strength 8, but again, pretty consistent with where like power fist style weapons are. The leader can have a graviton hammer instead. Used to be a concussion hammer, but it's very similar to the one on the Broker Ironmaster, anti-monster 3, anti-vehicle 3. You can also trade out the concussion fists for plasma blade gauntlets on people. I don't think you do. You give up an attack, but man, what you also give up in strength and damage, I don't think is worth it.
So, here's my second rant, Rob. Plasma blade gauntlet. If you look on the model, it's like a little blade that has the plasma on it. And it's like, what, strength 6, AP minus 2, 1 damage?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go back to these Steeljacks with melee weapons. Weapon skill 3, strength 6, AP minus 2, 1 damage. That's exactly the same. How come it's sustained hit and 6 attacks on those guys while it's not sustained and only 3 attacks on these guys?
I don't have an answer for you.
The weapons are just better on the Steeljacks than the Hearthguard. The Hearthguard have lost their place in the army, really.
So I'm gonna slightly disagree with you because of their army rule, or because of their unit rule. Their unit rule is decisive destruction. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack that targets the closest eligible target, reroll a hit roll of 1. Now that matters because all their attacks, except for the graviton hammer, have weapon skill or ballistic skill 3, and depending on what mode you're in, they're gonna hit on 2s.
And here's my counter to why I think that rule is lame. That's half of the rule you get if you run the Hearthguard detachment. So it's like they putting the Hearthguard detachment into the Hearthguard unit. It's just like, why? Now this detachment's worthless.
Yes, I think that's a clear indication that the Hearthguard detachment is not worth bothering with now. The Grotmist detachment, yeah.
Right.
But I think where I'm going with that, though, is the Hearthguard are the people that you send in to push people off objectives. The Ironkin are the people, the Ironkin Steeljacks are the ones who you put in to keep people off of objectives. I think that is where their roles differ.
Yeah,
and in that case, I'd think you go with the shooty Ironkin rather than the melee Ironkin.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree with that. But melee wise, I still think melee the Ironkin are better than the Hearthguard, even though there's a unit I think's maybe even a little bit better. But the other problem, which we sometimes get into, is points. The Hearthguard are almost 2 times the points of the other unit.
Whew. That is a hard hit.
I mean,
Point-wise.
maybe no. I'm talking about thinking of the Berserk, but 270 points for this, while only 200 for the Steeljacks. So 70 points more for these guys, and that's even giving them a 50-point decrease from the previous one.
Yeah, we'll see what the points come out to when they actually release. Yeah, it's like, yeah, don't trust book points.
Well, they've been pretty consistent on recent times, but yes, if they need to drop Hearthguard by at least 25, 30 points for a 5 to make them, I think, viable. Otherwise, they're just overcosted and they don't have a role.
Yeah, I know. I think that's fair. That's fair. So is that the unit that brings down the combat patrol?
Oh, totally. I mean, I went through like all of my numbers. It's on this piece. And yeah, just Berserks put out more wounds. The Steeljacks put out more wounds. The Hearthguard put out the least amount of wounds between the three. The Hearthguard are also the least livable. Believe it or not, it's probably the Berserks and Steeljacks, because the Steeljacks have that extra wound and the Berserks have an extra save. So just everything layered against them, and their guns. I mean, the only gun that's worth anything is the plasma gun with rapid fire, and I've got other shooty that's better. So they're like at second or third place at everything. So it kind of, if they weren't so expensive point wise, then I'm like, okay, well, I can take a second place thing here to fill in this because I don't have enough points elsewhere. But the fact that they also cost more and they're not the most efficient on them, it's like, no, I'm sad.
Well, to reinforce how sad you are, let's look at the unit that you compared them with, because our next one is the Chthonian Berserks.
Oh my gosh, these are so good.
So they got a bit of a glow up, to put it lightly. So used to have 5 inches of movement. They're now moving 6. They're one of the fastest guys on foot in the army. Move as fast as normal
Space Marine. Yeah, it's like, wow.
T6 instead of T5, so they're as tough as Ironkin Steeljacks.
Yeah, I mean, they're not wearing armor, so where's this toughness coming from? I mean...
They used to have a 6-up save. That is now a 5-up, so they moved the toughness. They swapped the toughness and the save.
Yeah, the save's irrelevant for these guys, but I guess it's nice that they have a save.
Yeah. Only 1 wound, though. They used to have 2, so they're down to 1 wound. So if they take a hit, they're down.
And here's my take on that. Because of Space Marines, so much stuff does 2 wounds now. So 1 wound just means, well, I can small arms fire will kill me. But most guns, most armies are going to pack will do 2 wounds. So both these and the Hearthguard will be dying. The only ones that live by taking a 2 damage shot will be the Ironkin.
Right. Also, a lot of small arms fire is gonna struggle to pop T6.
Hopefully,
because like bolters, Tau plasma rifles, those are strength 4, strength 5. Guard las guns are only strength 3, so you're talking about wounding on 6s. So
who
you just
uses las guns?
Guard players.
Do they?
I'm just saying. Yeah.
Yes,
they actually do. Okay, you're channeling Kevin, and I don't know if I like it.
Well, since he's not here, someone has to.
Somebody has to do it. Fair enough. Also, they have Feel No Pain 4-up instead of 5-up, which that's
the biggest
shrugging
thing.
off half the damage they take.
Right.
Just crazy.
So, I mean, yeah, lost a wound, but the Feel No Pain, I think, makes up for it. And the toughness. It's just like, these guys are beasts and sturdy and really nice.
Yeah. They still have their ability to fight on death on a 4-up, and now is modified to fight on death on a 3-up if you're in Fortify Takeover mode. So if you were defensive, they're more likely to fight on death.
They're just so good.
And then they have a subterranean explosives rule, and this is not tied to whether you take a mole grenade launcher or not. This is just a thing they have. In the shooting
yes, it is.
Is it?
The only ranged weapon in the unit is the mole grenade launcher.
Oh, okay, fair. You have to hit them with the attack. That's right. So, okay. Just in your shooting phase after this unit has shot. Okay, fair, yes.
The one weapon it can take.
Yeah. So So select an enemy unit, except for monsters or vehicles that you've hit with that attack. They don't get to fire Overwatch. That used to be subtract 2 inches of movement. I think this is way better for them.
This is way better because we always said, well, why do you have this and that? And like, no, okay, let's put here, deny the Overwatch from your own gun, target something that you might has flamers or something that'll be bad, and then charge it.
Yeah. Now, the downside is hitting someone with that mole grenade launcher is going to be harder because it's less range and only ballistic skill 5. Although you will likely have a +1 to hit depending on what mode you're in.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, you're going to be shooting it at something you want to charge anyway, so you should be within 18. So,
yeah. And then your options for melee weapons, you've got a concussion maul, which is now anti-monster. It lost strength. It's down to strength 5, but anti-monster 3-up, anti-vehicle 3-up more than makes up for that.
Oh, totally. Yes.
Yeah. The only time where it's an issue is if you were fighting like Steeljacks or Custodes or Death Guard, where they're like looking at T6.
Well, then use the other weapon.
Right, because that's when you use the like a heavy plasma axe, which is the standard gear for them. Because only one person every 5 can have the concussion, or no, everybody can have concussion mauls.
Yeah, you either switch between the plasma axe or the maul for the entire unit, and then you can get a concussion gauntlet for 1 or 2 guys, depending on if you want mole launchers or concussion gauntlets.
Right. The heavy plasma axe is strength 7, AP -2, 3 damage, but no special rules. And the twin concussion gauntlet is strength 9, AP -2, 2 damage, and twin linked. These are all hitting on 4s, but again, you're going to likely be hitting on 3s.
And they're all good.
Yeah.
I think my favorite still is the plasma axe for the little guys and the concussion maul for monsters' vehicles. Because just imagine a squad of 10 berserks. So that's 30 attacks. So you'd hit with what, 15? Wound with 10 of them. And they're at -2, so they're probably on an invuln save. And so I said wound with 10, so they'll save half normally. So that's 5 getting through. That's 15 damage getting through in a full squad.
That's still going to wreck most vehicles.
Right. These guys are good.
Yeah. No, they're solid. They're squishy, but not nearly as squishy as they used to be even.
Right.
So
and well, that was one of the things. No one was taking them because they either couldn't get to where they needed, or once they did, they didn't really have the killing power, so they upped the killing power, and they upped their survivability, and now they are definitely the best melee unit in the army.
Right. And, again, if they're in fortified takeover mode, being T6, just like it did for the Steeljacks, is going to make it so that like you're going to be really pressed to put a wound on them, even with really strong weaponry. So, yeah, this is a very, very solid unit.
Yeah, it's my winning unit for the codex of biggest glow up.
So next up is what happens if you give a Chthonian Berserker an artillery piece and tell him to point it at the ground instead, and that gives us the new Chthonian Earthshakers unit, which moves even slower because you've got a giant piece of artillery to drag around, so they're only moving 4 inches. But T6, 6 wounds to represent the 3 bodies on the diorama and the 3 for the gun itself, I'm assuming. And this one's kind of interesting. Your weapons are blast, heavy, indirect fire. I'm not counting the bolt pistol. Nobody cares about the bolt pistols.
Pew pew.
Especially because it's a pistol, meaning you can't fire it and the other weapons. If you're firing the pistols, something has gone horribly awry.
Like you're in melee?
Yeah, well, I would. Oh, now, granted, these guys still have plasma picks, but that's not a plasma axe, so don't think it's remotely equivalent.
AP -2, 4
AP
attacks.
-2 with strength 5, 1 damage, though it's
okay,
not.
Well,
it's
yeah.
not a. It's not a plasma axe. But you've got two weapon options for shooting. You've got the Breacher Ordnance, which is blast, heavy, indirect fire, 24-inch range, D6 +1 shots, hitting on 5s, although heavy, if you don't move, you're hitting on 4s. Now, note that heavy does not stack with the benefits from prioritized efficiency. Because it's a +1 to hit, it doesn't modify the ballistic skill. So you're never getting better than 4. But the Breach Ordnance, strength 10, AP -1, 2 damage, Or you've got Tremor Shells, 36-inch range, D6 plus 4 shots at strength 6, AP -1, 1 damage. Like, the Tremor Shells are definitely good against infantry, especially with Blast. You know, against, like, blobs of infantry, you'll get some work done. The AP on the Breacher Ordnance, I think, is what really puts it down as a choice.
And the range.
Trying to deal with stronger stuff. And the range definitely hurts, but also that AP for strength 10 is just, it's effectively an autocannon, but not as good. Now, they do have a couple of other abilities. Destabilizing Quakes in your shooting phase. After the unit has shot, you select an enemy unit that hit them if you use Tremor Shells. So this is the anti-infantry one. If you hit them with Tremor Shells, they have to make a battle shock test at -1. That's not bad. And most of the stuff that's going to take damage from Tremor Shells, it'll munch them up pretty well. So yeah, that's okay.
And also battle shock test, even if because it doesn't say non-vehicle, you could hit a vehicle with that. If they fail the battle shock, no overwatch from the vehicle, which your normal berserks can't do.
Yeah. And then you've got, instead, if you use the Breacher Ordnance, Geomantic Hunters, up to twice per battle in your shooting phase. When this unit is selected to shoot, it can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, each time a model in this unit makes an attack with its Breacher Ordnance, you can reroll the wound roll. With the strength 10, it's going to give you more chances to stick, to get the wound, but that AP1 is still going to make it hard to stick the wound on a lot of vehicles. Yeah. A lot of vehicles are like 3-up saves. So if that one had better AP, I'd be more impressed.
I think it doesn't because of the whole D6 +1 shots.
Yeah, it's a lot of shots, but also you're never hitting better than 4, so you're hitting with 3 or 4 shots a turn. You're probably wounding, like, if you're using this on like vehicles or monsters, you're wounding on 3s or 4s usually. Some vehicles you're wounding on 5s. Twice per battle, having 1 round of re-roll the wound roll. Now, granted, this is going to be in a unit of 2, so you're talking 2d6 plus 2.
2, yep.
Yeah, so you are getting a lot of shots, but again, half of them, it's like half of them aren't going to land. Half of them probably won't wound, even with re-rolls. You're going to do damage to something. I think you're going to be hard-pressed to kill anything other than light armor with this.
I think this is just to provide supporting fire. It's not going to kill anything, either one of these.
The Tremor Shells, like,
might for infantry.
For light infantry, for like Guard or even Eldari. I mean, because the 36 inches of range,
right?
2d6 plus 8 shots plus blast. I mean, that's enough to put a dent into an orc mob.
Yeah.
That one's got some possibilities. Yeah, I think if you take this, you take it for the anti-infantry ability. The anti-vehicle ability just isn't as consistent as it needs to be.
I will toss this out there. They have both these shells and deployment, or the nozzle of the gun pointed at the ground. Pick whichever one you like better. I think the Breacher one actually looks cooler than the Tremor one. So
I will agree that the Breacher with the little drill on the front is pretty cool looking.
Because I'm sure if you're playing with anyone, they won't care. You just tell them what weapon the unit is. So
right. So yeah, and that's the thing, is these are not 2 modes of fire. You decide, like, this one is either this or that when you build your list.
And the whole unit is that. So yeah.
The whole unit is that. Yeah, like I said, I think you're generally going to be, if you're running these, I would generally run them as the Tremor Shells. But as you also said, this army doesn't really struggle with ways to kill light things. So
no.
Yeah, so kind of an interesting choice if you want to lean into Chthonians. It's not a bad flavor win, but I don't think it's a great unit. It's an okay unit.
This unit still has a place because 36 is really one of the high end of ranges. So this is one of your best ways to get 36 inches, and with indirect fire, you've got more options because they can't hide.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, and with indirect, you're never hitting better than 4 anyway. So
yep,
you're just hitting on 4s wherever you go. Moving on, let's put a jacket on over those bare arms, and let's look at Hernken Jaegers, which are your on-foot guys in trench coats. It is just one dwarf in a trench coat, not two dwarves in a trench coat. This is your infiltrating squad. Also decently fast, I guess, because they have battle coats, I guess, make them faster.
Yeah, light armor.
Light armor. Because they do have they have similar saves to the Chthonians at a 5-up. So 6 inches of movement, T5, 5-up save, 1 wound. With infiltrators, so that's actually really good for getting them closer to those no man's lands objectives that you need.
Yes.
So I think with the way this army plays, this gives them a very solid role to play. They have the ability, if somebody ends a normal advance or fallback move within 9 inches of you, they get a D6 inch move in response, which can be a useful ability for positioning to like get yourself out of danger.
I mean, I've seen Eldar Rangers do that effectively, so yes.
Yeah,
it can move just far enough away that, sorry.
That charge is now a lot harder, so... Or allows you to get like out of line of sight into cover. There's, ways to use that.
Or if someone gets close enough, they can help you get to an objective. Haha, they didn't see that coming.
No, they didn't. Their default weapon are bolt shotguns, which are...
okay.
They're fine. 18 inches, 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, but again, hitting on 4s will probably be 3s in the right situation. Strength 5, no AP, 1 damage. It's nothing to write home about. Now, everybody could replace their shotguns with bolt revolvers and plasma knives, and at least the bolt revolver is a 12-inch standard pistol range rather than 9 inches.
But the knife is awesome.
Yeah, it's the plasma knife that we saw on the Hearthkin Warriors. So,
but going from just 1 attack AP 0 to 2 attacks with AP -2, I think it's a huge upgrade. So I would lean towards, since they're already going to be infiltrating, you can either provide some extra cover shots with the shotguns and the 2 heavy weapons, or have them be a small melee option of if they get discovered, well, then try and fight back with melee.
Yeah. And then you've got 2 special weapons that you can have one of each in the squad. They don't interfere with each other. One is a Magna Coil rifle, which is a sniper rifle with ignores cover and precision. It's not likely to kill anybody with only 2 damage. Most characters, yeah.
And since you can only take 1 in the unit with that 2 damage, most characters have 4 or 5. Yeah, not a great sniper rifle.
Yeah. And then the other option is the APM launcher, which is an anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3-up, 24-inch range gun. But also, again, only 1 attack, strength 6, -2, D6 damage. Not likely to kill a monster or vehicle.
No, but, I mean, you take a pot shot from a stealthy or hidden position with these guys early on the board, have your other bigger guys follow it up. So soften people up. I like the anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3-up weapon a lot.
That is good.
I wish you could take 2 of them.
Now, I will say strength 6 against everything else is actually really good, because that will put the hurt on most infantry, and AP -2 D6 damage runs the risk of killing everything up to and including like a Custode or Plague Marine. Yeah, that if you're going to take one of the weapons, that's probably the better one to take. It would be awesome if you could take 2 of either in the list, but you can only take 1 of each.
And truthfully, though, if you're going the melee option, the other one is not bad, because it still gives you a strength 5 AP -2 2 damage gun that, I mean, if you ignore the precision part, that's decent.
That's fair, yeah. Now we've got Hernken Pioneers, aka the model I like putting together the least in this army.
Yeah.
Also, it's those guys that we just talked about, but on bikes.
Yeah.
So, first off, range improvements for their bolt weapons. Pistols are 12,
needed.
Shotguns are 18, absolutely needed, yeah. They have a number of heavy gun options. There's the Ion Beamer, which, as we mentioned, lost sustained D3, but got randomized shots. I don't think that's better. D3 plus 1 shots instead of a solid 3. So a lot fewer shots, but at least a bump to strength 8.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Or you've got the high-las rotary cannon, sustained hits 1 at strength 6, AP -1, 1 damage. Or the Magna Coil autocannon, which is flat 3 shots, strength 7, AP -1, 2 damage. It really depends on what you want to kit these out to deal with.
Actually, they all have the autocannons. The autocannon. Yeah.
Oh, the autocannon is the one that's just on the front. That's right. It's either high-las or ion or...
And the high-las and ion
beam
is only 1 per 3. So, yeah.
Okay, that's right. And they have the ability to go off the board and into reserves if they're within 9 inches of the battlefield edge and not engaged at the end of your opponent's turn, which is always a really good ability.
Yeah, I don't know. And I know why they changed it. It used to be within 6, and now it's wholly within 9. I guess people were stringing them out a lot because you could have a squad of 6, so you could probably string them out a lot.
Yeah.
So now that wholly within 9, and they're decent sized bases, those big oval bases. So you will have to definitely have them on the edge wholly to be able to use that ability now.
Yeah. Also, this unit is still one of those ones where you've got like 3 possible war gear upgrades for the people who don't have big guns mounted to the top. So you could have the multi-wave comms array, which is, hey, if you target them with a strat, you get a CP back on a 5-up.
Yay.
The roll bar searchlight, which lets you ignore modifiers to hit, which that is actually very good, but possibly even better, the panspectral scanner, which lets you reroll hit rolls of 1 instead of ignores cover, which is what it used to be.
I mean, 2 of those 3 are really good.
Yeah,
and
the searchlight,
in a squad
the
of 3,
scanner,
you'll put those 2 on it.
Yeah, you'll take basically the searchlight, the scanner, and then either the high-las or the ion beamer, depending on how you're feeling.
And I don't know how I'm feeling, because maybe the ion, because it also has blast.
Yeah, the ion D3 plus 1 shots with blast.
But the 24 range is nice too.
Yeah, the high-las has better range and just more shots all around, consistently. Plus sustained hits 1.
Yeah, it's a toss-up on these 2, which I like when we get options for vehicles or for weapons that they make a difference because one is not distinctly better than the other. They might serve different roles and be better at those, but yeah, it's a toss-up based on what you want to do.
And again, even though the Hernken on foot have infiltrate, this group has scout 9 inches, and with the way the army plays now, scouting and getting onto those midfield objectives even more important. That makes these a very solid choice for getting yield points early. Then let's look at the new Capricus vehicles. We'll start with the Capricus Defender. Although both the Defender, both the Defender and the Carrier have the same stat lines: 12 inches of movement, 7 toughness, 4-up saves, 7 wounds, OC2, which is standard for kind of a smaller vehicle like that, and both have scouts 9 inches, much like the Hernken Pioneers. And these are Hernken models; they have the Hernken keyword. So the Capricus Defender, that Magna Rail cannon, is no slouch.
Yeah, that's why I want to have 2 of them and treat them like Vipers, where that cannon's like a Bright Lance, because it almost is.
24-inch range, only 1 shot, but hitting on 4s, which again, likely hitting on 3s, depending on what you're going for. Strength 14, AP -4, D3 plus 3 damage. And hey, if the thing you're going for maybe is not on an objective, or you're not trying to keep an objective, it's still heavy, so you can still get that down to a 3 if you don't move.
And I'll jump this in, Rob. So say like you don't move, so you get the heavy thing. Then after this unit has shot, it can use its ability to take a normal move up to D6 inches. So you still can kind of move.
Right.
And
so
cheat the heavy.
Yeah. And it does have the option for the high-las rotary cannon, which is like the one on the Pioneers, but does 2 damage instead of 1, which is just an odd inconsistency for the...
There's a lot of those.
Yeah, it's like otherwise it's an identical weapon. It just theirs does slightly more damage. But yeah, why would you take anything other than the rail cannon on this thing?
Yeah, I don't know. And like I said, Strength 14 will wreck or hurt anything. And then AP -4, they're going straight to Invones. D3 +3, that's just a very solid, consistent wound. So, no, that's my hands down choice. I've kitted mine like that. And since we went the thing of how I said earlier, I probably won't Magnamod. I'll just put Magna Rails on both that I want to get. So,
and you can take this in units of up to 2. So you can have 2 of them as one unit scooting around with...
Or 6 total on the board.
Yes, you could. Absolutely.
I mean, 6 Magna Rail shots and for decently cheap vehicles and that can scout early.
And they also have the twin Magna Coil autocannons, so they have the same kind of guns as the Hernken Pioneers, although twin-linked, which is even better. So you've also got weaponry that is decent against medium infantry. And also, I'm amused that they have smoke launchers as an option when you don't pay points. So, of course, I'm going to take the smoke launchers as an option. It doesn't cost me anything.
Here's my slight annoyance. On the vehicle, like I'm assuming you're looking at the codex in the picture.
Yes.
You see on the 2 sides next to the middle sidebar, those little cannon things?
Those are the smoke purge.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing they're supposed to be. But it is the exact same piece as the grenade launchers for the Hearth card.
That's not confusing at all. I don't know what the problem is.
I mean, when I looked at those pieces, I was like, I don't see this weapon anywhere on the ranged weapon profile. What's going on? And then I read through, I'm like, oh, I bet these are supposed to be the smoke launchers. Oh.
Yeah. Odd choice for a bit, but okay, we'll go with it.
I mean, I can make sense. You draw, I mean, it's filled with a little smoke thing, or it's filled with a grenade. You pop whatever in you need.
Yep. Let's see, then the Capricus Carrier, same frame, still has the twin Magna Coil autocannon, has a regular Magna Coil autocannon equipped on top, can take smoke launchers, but its more important thing is it has a transport capacity of 5 Hernken Jaeger models. Only Hernken Jaeger models.
Yep, and Hernken Jaegers are only in squads of 10.
Yes.
So thankfully this lets you split them.
Yes, these combat squad the same way. However, unlike the Defender, this cannot be taken in squads of 2. You take 1 at a time. But they are also dedicated transports, so it's not a problem with like, oh, I can only take 3.
The other big thing that's neat on this is firing deck 5. So this is definitely the open-topped vehicle. So my thoughts on the Jaegers still would be then take them in a squad of 10, do the melee option, but then the 2 heavy weapons, or 2 special weapons, and then 3 other guys, put them in here. I mean, 3 of them only have little guns, but then you've got 2 extra nice guns for your carrier.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And then anybody who gets shot by this vehicle, including by anyone who's inside, because remember, firing deck counts the guns as being from the vehicle itself. If you hit somebody with it, other than monsters or vehicles, then they are suppressed, and that means they're -1 to be hit. Tau Strike Team has the same ability. It can come in very useful to kind of kneecap a unit a little bit and make them less of a threat.
I mean, I'm pleased with both these versions. For me, even if you're using the carrier as like to deliver the Jaegers, even though that gets rid of their infiltrate ability, I don't know why you do that. But I mean, having another small platform that can hit little things while having the Defender that can hit big things, I like the options. So I'm pleased with both versions.
And I'm also really liking the fact that you can, with the options of Hernken Jaegers, Pioneers, and the various Capricus vehicles, you like making a very Hernken themed army is very plausible. Like you've actually got a fair amount of options to do that without sacrificing too much in like combat ability. All right, we're almost done with data sheets. We've got 2 more. It's the vehicles, the vehicles we all know and love and are nearly impossible to find in stores at times.
No, I found one today.
Well, you found one of them. But the Sagittar is always difficult to find. Or at least has been in the past. Maybe it's better now.
Oh, it totally wasn't. I think it's more findable now. But now that they've announced this codex, it might get hard again.
Yeah. Sagittars are your transports. They double as gun platforms as well. They do both. They're unlike the Capricus, you don't have to really trade off. They did give it a transport capacity of 6. Was it 6 before?
Yeah, it was 6.
Okay. So you can have 5 guys and a character in there.
Yeah, and that character can bring their corvs or ecogs with them too.
Yes. But it can do any infantry, but it can't transport exo armor, exo frame, or Ironkin steel jacks. They're just too big.
Pretty much your options are the warriors, the berserks, or a character, or a character attached to one of those.
And if you take Hearthkin warriors, because they come in units of 10, they automatically combat squad between either 1 Sagittar and 5 guys on foot, or 2 Sagittars.
Which you'll note they don't say that about Jaegers, so Jaegers cannot ride in Sagittars because they're too big.
No, they cannot. No. The coats are just too bulky. We're not having any of it.
Yeah, they have to have the coats flapping in the wind in an open-topped vehicle.
Sagittars did get toned down a little bit. They are now T9 instead of T10, which is actually a pretty big change.
That's a huge change.
Yeah. And OC2 instead of OC3. And they are no longer Scout 6 inches, but I think that's fine because that gives the Capricus more of a defined role as having Scouts.
I will agree with that, but I can still be disappointed because I loved my Scouting Sagittars.
Yeah. Let's see. You still have the ability to disembark after advancing. And again, you can't charge after that, but you can advance this thing and then pop out.
But I'll toss out one thing early or ahead of time. If you did that, you used to not be able to shoot. But thankfully, now the Mater autocannon gained assault. So now you can still advance, still have people pop out, and still shoot at least one gun. So that makes me happy.
Otherwise, you've got more range on the missile launcher at 36 instead of 24. However, your beam cannon, like all the beams, lost sustained hits D3. It's only 2 shots. Strength 12, still really solid there. And the damage is a little bit more consistent, a little bit better at D6 plus 1 instead of D6. So you are giving up number of shots, but...
I mean, this was always my go-to one. So even though the autocannon gained assault, I'm probably still going to run these beam cannons. I'm sad that the roulette of... Because whenever I rolled a 6 for that sustain, I would normally get 2 or 3 extra shots. So I was like, oh yeah, I shot once, hit 4 times. That I'm going to miss those days. But it did make the vehicle swingy, but still that strength 12, AP minus 3 for a lot of damage, D6 plus 1. That's still really solid, and I really like that. And the way they tone missiles down, I think beam is, for me at least, still the way to go.
Right. Because, yeah, the options are the beam cannon, the Mater autocannon, which also, sustained hits 1 and assault, as you said. So that one's basically a more shot version of the Magna Coil autocannon that you see on other vehicles. Or you can take the L7 missile launcher and Sagittar missile launcher all kind of mixed together. And the Sagittar missile launcher, still okay, but it's strength 10 instead of 12.
And that's the biggest change there. Because it used to be strength 12. And so it was like, do you want the sustained hit D3? Or to more consistently take the missiles? You still get all the same shots, but you just don't have the extra sustained hits. So now that they get rid of the sustained hits, I'm kind of happy they also dropped the strength of this. Because now you have options. As opposed to the missiles were always the better choice. I just didn't listen to them.
Yeah. Now, yeah, like it feels like the weapon choices balance out a bit more. You get like a lot more shots available with this if you go with the missile launchers, but you give up strength. So
right,
I think that's
because you'll get like 2 strength 10, 1 strength 9. The strength 10s are 3 damage, the strength 9's D6, or still have the 2 strength 10 and a D6 like strength 4 AP 0. I mean, you get a little burst blast weapon as well. So
yeah,
it's if you're going for more well-rounded, the missile launchers are still good. If you want that high damage for something big like a knight or something, the high las.
Yeah. And then finally, the big boy, the closest thing they have to a land raider or a giant tank, the Hecaton Land Fortress.
I mean, land raider, land fortress, same thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This, in my opinion, this is the second best glow up of a unit.
All right. So, give you a baseline, 10 inches of movement, tough 12, 16 wounds, 2-up save. Very Land Raider-esque, or, strong. It's a very solid vehicle. You used to have the ability that if a unit was inside and they disembarked, they could re-roll wounds if they shot at the same thing that the land fair order shot at.
Bad.
Now it's just you ignore penalties, you ignore any modifiers to your ballistic skill or your hit roll.
Good. So much better.
Your default weaponry is a cyclic ion cannon, a Mater autocannon, 2 twin bolt cannons, an armored, and the panspectral scanner. You can trade a few of those things out. For example, that cyclic ion cannon, which is a D6 plus 2 blast weapon at strength 7, AP minus 2 damage.
Meh.
You could trade that out for a heavy conversion beamer, which is similar to the one we saw on the Broker Thunderkin, or you could trade it out for what you're going to take, which is the heavy Magna Rail cannon.
Yes, that's the only weapon it has.
Which, much like the other ones, it's devastating and heavy. 2 attacks, 30-inch range, hitting on 4s, but again, we can easily modify that. Strength 18, AP minus 4, D6 plus 4 damage. As a fan of Tau rail weaponry, I can say this is just about equally as good. Okay. And 2 shots is excellent.
Well, guess what? That's where the big glow up is. It used to be 1 shot.
Yeah.
This weapon gained a second shot. That is so amazing.
And again, it's heavy, so if you don't move, you're still hitting on 3s. So you don't need to depend on what mode you're in to hit on 3s. But again, remember, that doesn't stack with that ability, so it's going to cap out at 3 one way or another.
But a lot of people won't put their big things on the objectives. So, I mean, the only way you could get that ability is if you put this on an objective and we're in Fortify. Because I want this shooting at your big knight, your big vehicle, your big monster, which odds are not going to be on those objectives.
Very true, very true. You do have the option to replace that panspectral scanner with a Hecaton warhead.
No.
I don't think you do. Because the panspectral scanner, which you come with by default, lets you reroll hit rolls of 1 every time you shoot.
Yeah.
Whereas the Hecaton warhead is a 1-shot blast weapon of strength 7, AP minus 2 damage, D6 plus 3 shots. But I mean, it'll hurt a unit of infantry once.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No. I mean,
or
so
I can just reroll 1s to hit.
Yeah, the 2 big option ones so far is like they're no-brainers. There's only one option. Only the Magna Rail and only the panspectral scanner. I mean, that's it. Now the last one, flavor as you want, because the last option is, do you want 1 bolt cannon and 1 twin bolt cannon and 1 twin ion beamer, or do you want 2 of either one of them? That's season to taste, because the bolt cannons are sustained hit 2, twin length 36 inches. So if you took 2 of those, that's 6 shots at strength 6, AP minus 1, 2 with sustained hit 2. Not bad. I like that because of the 36 inches. Mm-hmm. Or if you go with the beamers blast, so 18 inches though is the downside, but if something's close, that could be good. D3 plus 1 each, so you could have D3 plus 1 or D6 plus 2. Strength 8, AP minus 2, so I view those as more defensive weapons. And then I view the bolt cannons as more, I'm just going to go out and just ping people.
Right. And they're twin linked, so they're likely to stick those, to land those wounds as well.
Right.
So,
and I like the fact you can go all in on the bolt cannons or all in on the ion beamers or do 1 of each. So variety, flavors choose.
And don't forget, regardless of what loadout you go with, you're also always going to have the Mater autocannon, which is still assault and sustained hits 1, just like it is on the Sagittar.
Yep, it's a solid pinging gun.
Yeah.
So yeah. But definitely the reroll 1s, no modifications to ballistic skill, and a second shot on the Magna Rail. So good.
Also, transport capacity of 14, and your exo armor, exo frame, and ironkin can get inside, and they only take up 2 spaces each. The exo frames used to be bulkier at 3.
Yeah, so now the exo frames and including steeljacks, because if steeljacks were 3, that would be rough, because 3 times 6 is 18?
18, yeah, you could
not fit. So, I mean, yeah, in the past, I ran my Thunderkin as groups of 3, because that's all I could fit in here, because 3 times 3 is 9, and, well, 9 plus 5 from the Iron Master was 14. So, right. But now I could take a full squad of 6 Thunderkin or Steeljacks, have a character, so now that's what, 12, 13? I could even put a second character for 14. So I could have 6 Steeljacks with their strategist, with an Iron Master, all in one land fortress.
Yeah. I mean, that everything has kind of come together to make this just a much more flexible, much more useful vehicle. And it was already good.
Yes. I mean, I might have just told everyone my plans on what I want to do for a unit, but...
Well, considering you told me that you already, like, I went ahead and bought a second one.
No, I did not buy a second
or
one.
buy a third one, sorry.
I did buy a third one now. So now I can have one for Thunderkin, one for Steeljacks, and one for the Hearthguard.
Sir, that's insider trading, and I think that might be immoral.
I'd always debated getting a third one and some extra Sagittars. And I mean, Sagittars I still might not, because the new transport for the Jaegers might replace... Well, they're not going to replace the Sagittars, but I mean, losing my Scout on the Sagittars kind of hurts, and I kind of want the vehicles with Scout back. So,
fair enough. Fair.
New vehicles, yeah.
All right, so obviously that's a lot. We went through all the data sheets and the army rule. That's a lot. So we are going to go ahead and take a break for sponsor identification. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the detachments in the book. Also, remember, if you want to support the show directly, there are 3 great ways to do that. First off is our Patreon. We are at patreon.com/preferredenemies. You can follow us there, help support us. Basically an online tip jar. We don't lock any of our episodes behind a paywall, but we do have our access to our Discord and access to things like we've got our Urban Conquest update mission pack in there, updating that for 10th edition. So if you want access to that in the community we have there, you can get that by joining the Patreon, and all that money goes to help pay for our web hosting and our recording services, help keep our microphones and everything working. So you basically have helped keep the show income neutral. We really appreciate it. And yeah, only $1 a month. Enough people add in $1. It really does add up and help out. Second is YouTube. You can like us on YouTube. We are youtube.com/@preferredenemies. Like us, follow us, subscribe to the video. Yeah, like us, subscribe, like the videos, comment, etc. Do all the things to help us fight the algorithm and get our shows visible. And third is we have a merch store, preferredenemies.com/merch, where you can buy hats, shirts, and stickers and mugs, all with like our Preferred Enemy branding and some other things as well. That all really helps support the show, and we really do appreciate that. So, like I said, we're going to take a break for sponsor identification. When we come back, we've got 5 detachments to get to. See you in a bit.